Should you focus on flow or efficiency? Or is it not really a choice? Hello, I'm Dom. Welcome to my channel where we make operational excellence practical. And let's dive into this sort of dilemma, flow or efficiency, what to prioritize. It's a little bit of a question between lean tools and more Six Sigma TPM type tools. But I hope that quite early in the video you will already pick up on that this is a bit of a false dichotomy. So what do I mean with these things? See, if we have a process like, most of our production, but also any service-based process. Basically, we can say that the flow parameters, they are about how quickly, how much, how well will we get things through the entire process. While efficiency parameters, they focus more on what is the cost of each of those sub-processes. So what are things we should think about? Things like outputs, how fast are we, but also, where are the stopping points? And that's the interesting thing here, right? So flow parameters, they look basically at the end of our process, how much came out? How long did we have to wait between getting our materials in, or even better, our order in, and delivering that product? And so if you build a lot of stock and you say, oh, well, somebody ordered, we just took it out of stock, doesn't really count, right? The lead time, of course, is the moment we start a production order and it passes through all of the stations and all of the wait times in between, which is quite often more than the real transformation time. How long will it take? And for both of them, for the output and the lead time, we'll be looking at bottlenecks quite a bit. And that's the interesting part, because a bottleneck is one of these stations. And we get pretty close to efficiency thinking, just from the point of view of which part do I need to improve production-wise, efficiency-wise, reduce waste in order to get myself more or faster output. But okay, let's not get too much ahead of ourselves. If we look at any of these processes, well, then we can be looking at efficiency or effectiveness. And the main effectiveness thing we know is the overall equipment effectiveness, right? But how about waste? How much material are we using to make what comes out? Or in other words, how much are we wasting? I'm not really talking about the wastes of lean here, more just actual wasted material. How much labor is needed? Very popular KPI, I'm not a big fan of it, but very popular KPI is the man hours per ton, or how many dollars or euros of labor did we use per unit of product. Often for finance, very important part of the cost calculation, energy cost, all kinds of things that are as much as possible targeted to a process. Now, when we're looking at those, we really have to be asking ourselves, why? Why do we really want to know that? But man hours per ton of product, well, it's a cash one, or a cost one at least. So it's about the cost of the product coming out. The waste is about the cost of the product coming out. The OE is about how effectively can we produce the products. If we just look at one part of the line, we generally want to do that to boost how much comes out, or how much labor we spend making whatever comes out. So you see where I'm going, right? The flow focus is a good baseline to start with, but what we have to really take into account is what is our overall constraint. And so of output or speed or cost, what do we really need to be targeting? So which one of those? And if we know that basically our factory is filled, we can hardly supply what the market asks of us, then, getting the volume up is almost always going to be the best of those choices. If you can increase the volume in your current factory settings, you're almost always doing it with basically the same variable cost, roughly, and the fixed cost, they will be spread over a bigger volume, so cost goes down. Hopefully the quality is good enough, but if your market is already eating up everything you make, then you just need to maintain that quality level, because apparently you've got a pretty good product. So I'm not saying don't mind your quality, but probably your priority should be just maintaining it rather than trying to do the extra step. Speed, yeah, well, that's all nice, but it's the volume, the output, that's really important. But people are going to be waiting a little bit anyway because you can't deliver. So making it faster without increasing output, it's not very useful. So in that case, we'll be volume-based. Now, if you know that, you've got some overcapacity, you've got new markets to explore, right? Maybe people, and then I mean your customers, really appreciate more getting a quick turnover. So when they order something, you give it to them. High customization. High customization is also really in that sort of speed element, right? How quickly can we change between different product types as well? Or you need to work on the quality, or your cost is too high to be competitive in the market. So choosing what is the main driver for future success is important. And then this flow versus efficiency thing comes into place. When we know which one of these is going to be the main focus, then the rest leads out of that. Because basically output is only important if you've got volume, lead time is only important if speed is your thing. Well, sorry, not only important, but it's going to be on top of your priority list when the corresponding strategic focus chosen. Bottlenecks, they go for all of these. Right? So when you know that it's volume that you need, then you go for bottleneck OEE. When you know that you're looking at cost, go check that out. Is it more in your material? Is it more in your labor? Is it more in your energy? Get the most expensive parts, ones that are really driving up the cost, and get rid of them. And the fun thing is, when you know that actually flow for you is a really important thing, then you still want to know, where are my bottlenecks for flow? Where are my big pileups? Which machines or processes are sort of keeping up the rest of the process, creating a whole bunch of inventory in front of them? And maybe because of their unreliability, your people are making quite large inventory after that unreliable station, just, in case it goes down again, we'd better have some stuff. Happens a lot. So then you still use your efficiency tools on that specific sub-process. Now, that, my friend, is why I say don't focus on this lean or Six Sigma flow or efficiency. What should we be doing? Does every project need to have a payback period, need to have a strong cost element? No. The first thing you do is you have a good chat with management and decide on that one. Make sure that your organization knows what is the priority for improving your performance. Now, this is a difficult thing because most high-up managers will say, well, we need all of them. And yes, that is true. You want all of them. You sort of need all of them. But if you want to do targeted improvement, if you want to go for excellence in your operation, then you need to focus which of those is more important than the rest. What are maybe minimum quality levels, maximum cost levels, and then you can increase the volume. Choices like that. So when you are going into an operational excellence program, it's not only the operators who need to change. Make sure that your management, and especially the somewhat higher up management, like plant management level, and if you have multiple plants, like the groups and central levels, that they make these choices for your factory. Because only then can you pick where you need to do your battles. It is not a question of flow versus efficiency. It is a question of what is important for your factory or even for your department, although be careful because your department is almost certainly only one block. And to understand what your department has to improve, you need to know the picture for the whole process. In what is your department a bottleneck? Is it a bottleneck in output? Is it a bottleneck in how much waste is being produced or the way you treat the product causes waste somewhere else? Because if you just increase the OEE or just hunt for waste in your department, there's a big chance you're losing out on the most valuable parts. Now, adding to that, I would say if you reduce material waste, that's always cash in the bag, right? That really, it pays itself. Labor cost is tricky, but yeah, if that is a big cost component, definitely look at it. OEE is almost worthless to increase in your department. So that's why you have to really take into account the KPI of OEE. It can be super powerful, but not by itself. Right? OEE is a measurement tool that we use to track how well we're doing on bottlenecks for output or lead time or reliability. So if you have a critical line that sort of it's the bottleneck, it keeps back how much output you have, yes, OEE is super important on that line. But if you've got your machine standing still for a couple hours every day because basically the departments before and behind you, they don't really have the capacity and you just keep increasing OEE, at some point you'll maybe reduce a shift or so, get a bit of a labor decrease. But you're fooling yourself if you're thinking you're making a lot of money there. The same goes for if you can increase the output of your department, but the rest of the flow doesn't help, doesn't matter. If you decrease the lead time, it will always sort of help. But if that isn't really a goal for your process, and definitely if you're by far not the biggest drain for lead time, so not the longest in time used, it's gonna do peanuts on the big heap, right? It's not really gonna help you. That's why you make that choice for your factory and you have it with management supported. This is not a dilemma. This is a strategic choice that can change, but will influence how you look at the rest of your process. So I hope that you will keep combining Lean and Six Sigma and TPM and theory of constraints and all of the operational excellence tools that I try to teach you on this channel, because from time to time you will need any of them. There is not really a better or a worse one. It depends on what is currently the strategic importance for your organization. So if that triggered some thoughts, hit that like button. Make sure you have this conversation with your management. If you want my help in that, well, that is one of the services I provide. But for now, I wish you the best of luck getting this on your own agenda. And as always, don't forget to also enjoy the continuous improvement journey.